So students, welcome back in the second part of chapter 3 of history class 8, ruling the countryside. Okay, so till now students, what we have read? We have read that what was the condition of the peasants in India during 18th century, during British colonial period. And secondly, we have read why there was a great demand for the Indian indigo. As India is a tropical country, so in India many cash crops were grown by the British colonial period so that they can earn a huge profit. And for that, what they have done? So what they have done, this we are going to read in our next slide. Before that, we are going to see that what was the scenario in France, in European countries, where the under British colonial period, many plantations were set up to grow coffee, sugarcane, tobacco, tea and cotton. So now we are going to see that who you can see in this picture. These are the slaves. Okay, so these are the slaves, those who were taken from Africa, and they were taken in different countries of North America, South America and in the European countries. For example, here we can see that these slaves from Africa, they were taken to Saint Domingue in Caribbean islands. Okay, then we can see they were taken by the Portuguese in the Brazil also. Okay, here from Africa. So from these places of Africa, many slaves were taken from 16th to 18th century. In South America, in Brazil, by Portuguese people. Okay, then the English people in Jamaica, they have taken the slaves, and the Spanish people also they have taken in Venezuela. So here we have seen that many millions of slaves were cheaply available. So cheap labor was easily available in Africa, and they were taken by the European colonies and the French colonies. Yes, during that time, French people have also set up their colonies, and they have made these African people as their slaves. So this way the slavery system was also going on, so that they can work in the plantation of these colonial countries, that is European and French. And from Caribbean Sea, this was the route here. So from the Caribbean Sea, they have taken to the Jamaica, and then they have taken to the North America, okay, then to Venezuela, to Brazil. So this was a trade route, as you can see here again. So these were the places where the slaves were taken. Okay, but ultimately what happened in the year 1794? The slavery system was abolished by the French colonies. Okay, and other European colonies also, they have abolished, completely vanished the slavery system. Then what was the option left for Britain for indigo? So now they will turn to India. They have turned to India so that they can expand the area of land under indigo cultivation. Okay, so in India, what was the way? In what different ways the indigo was cultivated? So in India, let us see first of all the situation of Bengal. So first of all in India, in 18th century, the indigo was cultivated in Bengal in a very large scale. And then Bengal indigo, soon it came into a huge demand in the world, and it started dominating the world market. In the year 1788, what happened? 30% of the indigo was imported into Britain, and by the year 1810, it has increased drastically. That is 95% of indigo was exported from India to different European countries. Now, when indigo trade was, so as a result of it, what happened, students? All the British, those planters were there. Those were having their own plantation in European countries, and from England, from Scotland. So these people of Scotland and the people of England, they have come to India. And now here they wanted to earn a huge profit. So they have left their business also there, companies also there. They left the jobs also over there. And they were attracted and tempted by the huge profit, the high profit, which the other people were making in India through the indigo cultivation. So because of that reason, Scotsmen and Englishmen, they came to India and they became planters. And here they tried to set up the plantation of indigo. So for this, they have introduced two systems of indigo cultivation. The first was niche system and the second was Ryothi system. So there were mainly two systems of indigo cultivation, niche and Rayoti cultivation. Okay. So first of all, we are going to discuss about the niche cultivation. Let us read about first of all the niche cultivation. Now in niche cultivation, what happened? Now as niche is a Hindi word which means personal, a personal land. Okay. So niche means a personal land. So in the first of all, we are going to talk about the niche system. So in the niche system, what was the scenario? In the niche system, the planters, the European planters, the English planters were there, and they tried to purchase their own land. They tried to bring the land over their control, either by purchasing from zamindar or for taking on rent. Okay. So for this, they face a lot of problem. In niche system, the planters, the European planters, they have faced a lot of problem because they did not get the fertile land. Okay. And they got the fertile land where the areas were densely populated, because already in Bengal that time, the people were living in those areas where the land was already fertile. Secondly, what was the thing? That already those farmers were so much busy in their own cultivation. Thirdly, what was happened? Now they had to hire some laborers in niche system. Okay, so it was not very easy to mobilize the labor, to arrange the labor in niche cultivation. Okay, so these people, they require laborers also, laborers, they require the land also, fertile land also, and then they require, yes. So in this niche cultivation, the planters, they face a lot of problem. First of all, they were in demand of fertile land, and the fertile land was occupied by the population of Bengal, and the population and most of the farmers, they were busy in their rice cultivation. Okay, and then so this way they had the problem of fertile land they were not getting. Second thing, that they wanted a labor also. Okay, so it was not easy to mobilize the labor, to arrange the labor for this indigo plantation. They wanted a large number of hands to operate, because during that time they were not having any sort of machine. Okay. And second thing was that during that time when they were growing indigo in their plantation, during that time the Indian farmers of Bengal were also busy with their rice cultivation. And second thing is that niche cultivation also required large scale of plows, bullocks, okay, tools also, iron tools also. So it was a big problem for these European planters to arrange all these things, because already they have invested a money in the purchasing of land. Now to purchase the plows also, bullocks also, animals, iron tools. So it was getting very expensive for them. So now that is why what they saw, now they were looking for the another option for the cultivation of indigo. So the another second option was indigo on the lands of Rayot. So they have founded the another option, in which they have introduced another system which was known as Rayoti system of indigo cultivation. Here Rayots means peasants. Peasants of the farmers are known as Rayots in South India. Okay, and also in some other parts of India also. So here now what happened? Now the Britishers, the European planters, they have introduced a condition that according to that the Rayots, they had to sign a contract, a written contract, a written agreement, which was known as Satta. Okay, here you can see it was known as Satta. Okay, then according to it, what happened? Either sometimes they were meeting directly to the village headmen, or they were meeting to the village people, villagers, and they were giving cash advances to the villagers, to the farmers, to the village headmen. Okay, just to tempt them and just to tell them ki now if you will grow indigo for us in your own land, then it is going to be very profitable for you. So this way the Britishers, they used to give some cash advance to the farmers or the village headmen, okay, also to the zamindars at a very lower interest. So according to that, now money will be given by the planters, that is European people, but the land will be of the Indian farmer, Bengal farmer. So now he had to grow the indigo in what percentage of land of area? 25% of land. So in the 25% of land of area, now these Indian farmers, those who have taken the cash advance from the planters, they had to grow indigo in their own land. Seeds were provided by the European planters, tools were provided, drills were provided by the European planters. But all the work from sowing to harvesting, every work will be handled by the Indian farmers only. So slowly and gradually our Indian farmers realize that this system is very, very oppressive. Okay? Because now we are going to see our farmers will, when they will sow the indigo in their own plant on their own, without any cooperation from these British planters, then we will see what kind of problems they would face. So let us see the procedure. Okay, so this we are reading already. British. Okay, so this already we have revised already, students, and now we see how was the indigo produced and what was the procedure. Now here you can see this is an indigo plantation. Okay, and in this plantation, how the indigo was manufactured. How does it take place? So it takes place in a vat. VAT, vat means vat is a kind of vessel. Okay, it is a kind of a vessel. Okay, or a fermenting vessel. So there were 3 vessels actually. So in that, indigo plant was put first of all in the first vessel. Indigo plant was put, then it was boiled. And after boiling, whatever solution moves in the vat, solution left, whatever flakes were there, okay, whatever leftover material was there, it used to get settled down in the flake, and they used to settle down the solution, move the solution in second vat. And this way in third vat, the solution was moved and then upper water was drained. And this way we have the indigo. In the first vat, we have indigo plant which was boiled. After boiling, rotten part is removed and then water is drained. So this was a procedure, and the procedure was very complicated, very tedious. And then this solution moves to the second vat, that is vessel. Here in vat 2, it was stirred with a big paddle. And then you can see here that these people, they had to beat these laborers. Okay, these laborers, these farmers, they had to beat the vat in vat number 2 continuously. Okay, so a person has to stand more than half body in the water, and continuously he has to stand in the waist deep water for 8 hours as a vat beater. So in vat number 2, the solution is stirred with a big paddle, beaten continuously by a person standing more than half body in water, and then vat beater had to remain in waist deep water for 8 hours. Can you imagine how much hard work he had to do? So that it was, then what happened, the green color of the leaves, okay, in the solution, it used to change into blue. And later on, limestone was also added, and then indigo was separated out in the flakes, came up at the lower side in vat. And this way upper water is drained, lower flakes later on separated in a separate flask. This way mud settles at the bottom. So this way what happened, they were dried, crushed, pressed, and finally they were sent to the British market for sale. So finally product came up from the third vat. Vat means vessels. So this way the process of processing of indigo was very tedious, very long and very complicated. So we will see that later on the riots, these villagers, they will rebel, they will protest that they do not want to grow any more indigo in their farms, because this job is very, very tedious. They had to stand in the waist deep water. And this way what will happen, it is going to lead to indigo revolt. It is also known as a peasant revolt, which was held in 1859 to 1860 in Bengal. Okay. So finally students, now what will happen? These peasants are not at all happy with the way, okay, with the way the indigo was forcefully planted in their own field in the 25% of the very most fertile area by the Britishers. Slowly and gradually now Britishers were forcing the Indian farmers that you have to grow indigo in the most fertile area of your land. So this way the land was chosen by the Britishers, and this indigo plant is very very harmful for the fertility of the soil. Why? Because it is having deep roots, and the deep roots they penetrate deeper and deeper, and this way when they penetrate deeper, they go deeper and deeper into the soil. They absorb the nutrients of the soil and exhaust and vanish the fertility of the soil completely. Then that soil becomes barren or infertile, and that soil after indigo cultivation, once it is done, it is not suitable for the any other cultivation of any other crop. So these were the problems which peasants were facing. Another problem was that now British peasants were getting very lower prices. When indigo with such a hard work, after such a tedious job, when they were producing indigo, when they were selling the indigo to the British market, to the Britishers, they were giving very low prices to the peasants. So the peasants got very angry also, because once again they have to take the loan from Britishers. Then once again what happened? They had to start the same cultivation. So this way the cycle of taking the loan was unending and very harsh. So this way they founded the system of loan is very harsh, very oppressive, very suppressive, and they just wanted to get rid of all these cycles. So now we will see ultimately what happened. So ultimately our farmers in the March 1859, our thousands of farmers in Bengal, they refused straightforward to grow indigo to the Britishers. And now this way the rebellion started and spread also. And our our riots, that is our villagers, our farmers, our peasants, they refused to pay the rents to the planters, and they also attacked indigo factories. And they were armed with swords, spears, bows, arrows, and even women also participated in this rebellion very actively. And they also had a fight with these people by using their kitchen utensils. So this way, now there are certain levels of people, those who are still working for the planters, for the European planters, and they were gomashtas. Okay, so they were the gomashtas. Gomashtas were the agents of planters, or you can say they were the paid servants of the Europeans. So these people, what was the duty of the gomashtas? After the indigo cultivation, production, they had to go to the Indian farmers and they had to collect the rent. So when gomashtas, this time they went to the Indian farmers had beaten up these gomashtas. And then now these riots, they have decided very firmly, now they will not take any advance. No longer they will take any advance to sow indigo, nor they will be cheated or bullied by the planters' lathials. Now lathial means the people, those who carried the lathi, a very long thick stick with them. And they were very wielding strong men, just like a bodyguard, okay, having a very strong body. So they were also maintained by the planters, okay. So these planters also, they were just acting like a bodyguard for these European planters, and they used to carry lathi with them, so they were known as lathials. So now indigo farmers have decided they won't come under the influence of these lathials also. They are not going to be afraid of these people. Now, why earlier these indigo farmers were silent, and why they have rebelled in the year 1859 only? Okay, so there are so many reasons behind that. First of all, they thought that now zamindars, village headmen, they all are supporting to the Indian farmers. Because earlier what happened, these local zamindars and village headmen, they were asking the village farmers only to grow indigo. But slowly and gradually, zamindars and the village headmen also became against the European planters. And they also told them not to cooperate and not to grow any more indigo in your fields, in your land areas. Second thing, they also told them not to sign indigo contracts. Okay? And this way, the Indian farmers, they got the strength to fight with the lathials. And in other places also we have seen, in different places, zamindars, village headmen, they were all resisting the planters. They were all supporting to the farmers, our farmers. And these zamindars were also very unhappy because when the planters they came to the villages, the power of planters became more stronger. Their position, their power, they became more powerful and more stronger. So the village headmen zamindars were not happy with the increasing powers of the planters, European planters. So we can see overall that Indian farmers, Indian zamindars, village headmen were not at all happy with the way the European planters are forcing the Indian people to grow the indigo. One more thing is there. Now in the next chapter, chapter number 5, children, we are going to read about the revolt of 1857. Now in 1859, the Blue Rebellion had taken place, and just 2 years back only, if we see the history, the first war of independence had taken place, 1857. And there also the British government had faced a lot of struggle also, rebel also, opposition also against the Indian rulers, Nawabs, queens, soldiers. Not many people they have rebelled, especially from North India. Okay, so now already the Britishers, they have learned a lesson from the Indian people. Now they do not want any more rebellion, any more uprising, any more revolt. They don't want from Indian people. So that is why what happened, the British government was already very much worried seeing this condition, growing condition of indigo rebellion. And now we will see one more reason is there. Okay, here we can see indigo factory in India where the low cost of labor. Okay, work was so much harder and longer and tedious, but the payment was very low. Okay, here we can see our laborers are working very hard, and these European planters, they used to stand and they used to give commands and orders to our farmers, our laborers. So this is what happened. A lieutenant governor, when lieutenant governor was there, he also visited Bengal in the year 1859 in winter season. Okay, and then when these villagers, our riots, they saw that one government is coming, one lieutenant governor, he has inspected Bengal. So they thought that Britishers are also showing sympathy, kindness to the poor condition of Indian farmers. In addition to it, in Barasat, Magistrate Ashley Eden was there. He has also issued a notice. In that he has in that notice he had mentioned that Indian farmers will not be compelled. Means they will not be forced to accept the indigo contracts. Nobody will force the Indian farmer to sign the contract to accept the indigo contracts. Okay, and this way what happened, Eden was trying to pacify the Indian farmers, because already the Indian farmers, they were very much angry. So this way Ashley Eden, he was just trying to calm down the situation and to pacify our Indian farmers so that the situation can be controlled and the situation should not become explosive. Okay, and the farmers will not rebel again. So this was also one reason that Indian farmers thought that now Britishers are also supporting to the Indian farmers. Then now rebellion, when the rebellion started, okay, ultimately the rebellion started. So all the intellectuals, that is all the poets, then scholars, writers, drama writers from Calcutta, they have rushed to the various districts of indigo in Bengal. Why? Because now by themselves they were witnessing the situation. They saw the misery, problem, difficulties, poor life of the riots. They were living in such a poverty situation. They also saw the tyranny, cruel behavior, the cruelty, the brutality of the planters and the horrors, consequences of the indigo system. Because ultimately what was the situation of the poor farmer? He became more poorer. Okay, he became poorest from poorer. And they did not have the meal also to have in 2 times. So this way, worried by the rebellion, the government, they have called army also, military also. Why? Military for the European planters, so that they will not be killed by the Indian farmers, because Indian farmers are very angry. Okay, so this way the commission was set up. Now the Indigo Commission was set up to do the inquiry of indigo production, that what was the reality actually, why these farmers are so much angry with the Indian planters. So by the British government, Indigo's commission was set up. So the commission, now what decision they have taken? So the decision had gone in the favor of Indian farmers. Okay, so it was a good sign, positive sign. The commission held the planters guilty. They declared that the European planters are guilty and they are at fault, and they have criticized them for coercing methods, very harsh methods they were using with the indigo cultivators. Okay, they were using very harsh, unkind, cruel methods to grow indigo, and their behavior was not good with the Indian farmers. Okay, and it also declared, this commission had made this decision, that this indigo production for Indian farmer is not at all profitable, because they were becoming more poorer and also losing their land. Okay, so they were trapped in the loan cycle also, which was unending, non-ending. So the commission asked the riots to fulfill their existing. So at last commission said only this much, कि now whoever farmer is still having presently the indigo cultivation, crop cultivation in their fields, so they will complete this season, they will do the harvesting work, but in the next, from the next time they can refuse. It depends upon the farmer only. He can refuse to produce indigo in the future. Okay, so this way we can say that the verdict or the decision of the Indigo Commission has come in the favor of our Indian farmers, and these were the districts in Bengal where the Indigo Rebellion had started in Bengal. Okay, in the year 1859 to 1862. And then last, now we have reached to the conclusive part of this chapter. So in Bengal now, students, what was the scenario? Completely the indigo production was stopped. Now what they will do? Now what the Britishers will do? Now from Bengal they will move to Bihar. Okay, they will move to Bihar now. Okay, they have completely left the Bengal and now they will move to Bihar. And at the same time, now what happened in 18th century, students? In 18th century, we will see that because of industrial revolution, because of setting up a large number of industries and machines, and with the new invention of science and technology, later in 9th century, synthetic dye has come into existence. So discovery of synthetic dye has come into existence. Okay, so now let us see the situation of India. So causes already we have seen, students, these were the causes of indigo revolt. Okay, so indigo rebellion we have seen. Here we can see this is a plantation. Okay, and here how our Indian farmers, they had to work day and night. And ultimately now in the ending part of the chapter we will see, students, now in Bihar, this was a time when Mahatma Gandhi, he has arrived in India in the year 1917 from South Africa. And what he was doing, he was just touring India. He was just touring and inspecting what is the situation of the people, farmers, what is the real situation of India before joining the politics. So he visited a peasant from Bihar, one peasant from Bihar. He persuaded, forced Mahatma Gandhi to visit Champaran, a place in Bihar, and to see the poor condition of the indigo cultivators over there and how they are living in the poverty situation. So Mahatma Gandhi visited Champaran, the place in Bihar, in 1917. And this marked the beginning of Champaran movement against the indigo planters. Satyagraha was done under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi. And one more question, students. As I have told you that many writers, intellectuals, writers, poets have come from Calcutta. So one Bengali drama was written. Its name was Neel Darpan. Okay. So in Neel Darpan, it is a Bengali drama, Bengali play, and it is played also, staged also. Most of the time, many times it has been played. And it has been written by Deenbandhu Mitra in Bengali. It is also available now in different languages, so you can also read it out. So with this, students, we have completed our chapter. Okay, so I hope you have understood the story and the concept of this chapter. So thank you so much, students. See you again in next video.